Hello. In this video, I'm going to go over my brother's Nine-Fingers Keene Maze's End combo gates deck. So the goal of the deck is to get Maze's End in play with a bunch of other gates, and you win the game once you have 10 or more. And our commander says when it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 9 cards of our library. You may put a gate from among them onto the battlefield. If you control 9 or more gates, you put the rest of the cards into your hand. Otherwise, you put them on the bottom. And it has Menace and Ward 9, so it's basically impossible to kill. But first, let's get into the creatures that take advantage of our gates. Sage of the Maze. For 2 and a green, it's a 1/3. It adds 2 mana in any combination of colors, and then tap until end of turn. Target land you control becomes an XX citizen with haste and controls other types, where X is twice the number of gates you control. And then you can tap an untapped gate to untap it. So it makes all of your untapped gates tap for 2 mana essentially, because you can tap a gate, untap this, add 2 mana. Tap a gate, untap this, tap 2 mana. So that's fantastic. So this can really get a lot of mana. EC, Tyrant of Gyre Strait, lets us put additional lands into place. We can fill up the battlefield with more gates, and then every single time a land enters, we draw a card, which is great because there's only so many gates you can play in the Sultai colors, and so being able to draw into them is spectacular. Zimone, Quandrix Prodigy. For green and a blue, it's a 1/2. 1 tap, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Gates already come into play tapped, so no penalty there. And then 4 tap, draw a card. If you control 8 or more lands, draw 2 instead. Glarb, Calamity's Augur. For a black, a green, and a blue, it's a 2/4 Frog Wizard Noble from Bloomborough. It's a death touching. You may look at the top card of the library anytime. You may play lands and cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library, and then tap Surveil 2. There are a lot of expensive cards in this deck. Like, literally, we already went over that one. That one's expensive. That one's expensive. So you're going to be able to hit a lot of things. And being able to play lands from the top of our library is also good because it just gives us access to more things. And then being able to surveil cards the way we don't need is also fantastic. Tachiova, Benthic Druid. For a 3 and a green and a legendary creature, Merfolk Druid. With landfall, when a land enters, we gain a life and draw a card. Fantastic. Quandrix Apprentice. For green and a blue, it's a 2/2 Magecraft. When you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, and we have quite a couple instants and sorceries in this deck, we can look at the top 3 cards of our library, reveal land, and put it into our hand and put the rest at the bottom. Just trying to hit our gates. There's a few gates in this deck. It's not like we have a 5-color gates deck here. Triskaidekaphile. For blue and a 1, it's a 1/3 human wizard. We have no max hand size, and at the beginning of our upkeep, if we have exactly 13 cards in hand, we win the game. We're going to draw a lot of cards in this deck because we're trying to get to our gates. And so, A, being able to possibly win off of having a ton of cards in our hand, or 2, we're going to have a ton of lands in play because we're focused on dumping as many lands as possible into play. So being able to trade some mana in to draw cards is great. So it's a 2-for-1. It's a win con and an enabler to let us draw cards. Elvish Rejuvenator, 3 mana, 1/1. When it enters, you look at the top 5 cards, you put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped. You can get any land, doesn't have to be a basic with this card. Gatekeeper Gargoyle. For 6 mana, it's a 3/3. It enters with a +1/+1 encounter on it for each gate you control. Crashing Drawbridge gives creatures you control haste until end of turn, including our Nine-Fingers Keene, which we really want that combat trigger. The deck is really focused on getting that combat trigger. There's like 3 or 4 that I saw enchantments that just give creatures unblockable. So giving unblockable to 9 fingers is great. Gatecreeper Vine. When it enters, you can search your library for a basic land card or a gate card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Get any gate you need for the situation. There's some really good ones, like, let's see. Baldur's Gate. 2x, mana of any one color, X number of gates you control. That is crazy. That is like Nyx. So Gatecreeper Vine is good. Survey Mechan. For 4 colors, an artifact, creature, robot, 1/3 flying hexproof, 10, sack this creature. It deals 3 damage to any target. Target player draws 3 cards and gains 3 life. And then this ability costs X less to activate, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. And then, of course, every gate in your deck, you can only play one of them, so you're going to have a ton of differently named lands. And so being able to deal damage to something, draw more cards is just great in this deck. District Guide. For 3 mana, it's a 2/2. When it enters, you search your library for a land or gate, put it into your hand, and shuffle. Cridle of Baldur's Gate. Blue and a black for a 1/3. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses a life and mills a card. Then you gain a life and scry 1. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Of course, we're looking at our commander here. Sky Shroud Ranger. Tap, you may put a land card from hand into play. It does not only at basic lands, you can put any land you want, so you can just fill up, you can tap this and put a gate into play, which is great. Gatebreaker Ram, 2 and a green. It gets +1/+1 for each gate you control, and as long as you control 2 or more gates, it has Vigilance and Trample. Very strong card. Bessie, the Doctor's Roadster, for 2 colorless. It's a legendary artifact vehicle. Should probably have been in the artifacts pile, but that's okay. It's a 3/4 haste, and whenever it attacks, another target legendary creature can't be blocked this turn. Of course, we're looking at Nine-Fingers again. Gateway Shade, 3 mana for a 1/1. If you can pay black to give it +1/+1, and you can tap untap gates to give it +2/+2. So this thing can be a very strong blocker. Tapping 3 gates, making this a 7/7 can just probably block anything your opponents throw at you. Greenside Watcher can tap to untap gates. Really take advantage of those gates with activated abilities. Roomknot Excavator, he is playing the Evolving Wilds and all of those life cards because he's trying to make a lot of land drops. So being able to replay these from the graveyard is great. Plus, in case any gates are destroyed, he can go ahead and get them back. Mark Fiend Liege for 5 mana. It's a 4/4. Other green creatures get +1/+1. Other blue creatures get +1/+1. And then untap all green or blue creatures you control during each other player's untap step. Of course, there are creatures that tap to untap gates, and you have tap abilities, and it's giving all of your creatures pseudo vigilance is great. Uro Titans of Nature's Wrath for 1, a green and a blue. When it enters or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, and put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. And you can escape it, and it sacrifices as soon as it enters. So for 3 mana, you put a land from your hand into play, draw a card, and gain 3 life, and you can do it later once it escapes. Gate Colossus, 8 mana. 1 less to cast for each gate you control. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And whenever a gate enters under your control, you may put this from your graveyard on top of your library. So it has an amount of recursion on it. Gateway Sneak, 3 mana, 1/3, and it enters under your control. Whenever a gate enters under your control, Gateway Sneak can't be blocked this turn. Whenever it is coming down with your player, draw a card. And then the last creature in the deck is Sky Serpent Seeker for green and a blue. It's a 1/1 flying death touch, great blocker. Exhaust 4. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal 2 land cards. Put 1 into play tapped and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Play plus again with this creature. So that can go ahead and grab one of your gates. Those are all of the creatures in his gate deck. Now I want to get into the instants and sorceries that make up this deck. First, I have Open the Gates. And you search your library for a basic land card or a gate card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Get whatever card you need. Someone's Scrying can literally get any land, including Maze's End. Maze's End is not a gate in itself. So you do have to have ways to get this card because it shuffles itself back into your library to go tutor for a gate. So this can go grab it. Death Sprout destroys a creature and puts a basic land card into play tapped. This deck is very mana hungry. You're going to draw a ton of cards. You want to cast those cards, draw more cards, cast those things, get more land drops, empty out your deck, draw into your gates as quickly as possible. So thinning your deck, getting a land is just all things you want to do. Leadership Vacuum, target player returns each commander they control from the battlefield to the command zone, draw a card. I'm not the biggest fan of this card, but Xander is, so I'm glad it works for him. Scale the Heights, 3 mana, put a ++ counter up to 1 target creature. You gain 2 life, may play it in a land this turn, draw a card. Card's great. Does a lot of things really well for really cheap. Slip Through Space, target creature can't be blocked this turn, draw a card. Just a little, what's the 1-drop cantrip that make this unblockable for a turn? Gets that trigger, gets the top 9 cards, gets a gate. Nature's Spiral, 1 a green sorcery. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Double Major, green, blue, copy target creature spell you control, except for it isn't legendary if this spell is legendary. 2 commanders are fantastic. 2 SEs are fantastic. 2 of most of our creatures would be great. Broken Bond, destroys an artifact enchantment and puts a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Great card, great card. Urban Evolution, 3 green, blue, draw 3, put additional lands. Great in this deck. Pause for Reflection, prevent all combat damage to be dealt this turn. You can convoke your creatures to cast it. It would be fun if this had like Gate Convoke. But I guess that would just be casting a spell normally, but still fun. Splendid Reclamation. For a green and a 3, return all land cards from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Any cards you milled, all of your Myriad, Landscape, Evolving Wild type effects will be back. Circuitous Route. Green and a 3. You may search library for up to 2 basic land cards or gate cards, put them into play tapped. 2 gates is fantastic. 2 gates is literally 20% of the way to winning with Maze's End. Simic Charm, green, blue, instant. Choose 1. Target creature gets +3/+3. Permanents you control gain hexproof, or return target creature to its owner's hand. A lot of flexibility. Get rid of something problematic. Give it +3/+3 to survive combat, or give it hexproof to survive a removal spell. Arch Druid's Charm, green, 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 instant. Choose 1. Search your library for a creature card or land card and reveal it. Put it onto the battlefield tapped if it's a land card. Otherwise, put it into your hand. So green, green, green can go search for any gate. Doesn't have to be a basic. You can exile an artifact or enchantment, or put a ++ counter on target creature you control and fight something. Or just deals damage, a bite spell. But really, I think the main focus is just to go get any land, and then the other things are just gravy on top. Death begets life. 5 black, green, blue. Destroy all creatures and enchantments. Draw a card for each permanent destroyed this way. Just drawing a ton of cards, grabbing all of your gates, and then casting all the ones that say additional land drops, and just dumping all of your gates into play is great. Explore the Underdark. 4 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped. You take the initiative. Explore the Underdark kind of sounds like an episode of like a Pixar show, honestly. Pillage the Bog, black and a green. Just a great card though. 2 gates and then take the initiative is great. Pillage the Bog, black, green, sorcery. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is twice the number of lands you control. Put 1 into your hand, the rest of your body library in a random order. I assume this card's trying to hit Maze's End. Growth Spiral, draw a card, put a land into play. Eureka Moment, draw 2 cards, put a land into play. Curse of the Swine, exile extra creatures, and make a bunch of boars in their wake. Of course, we have a ton of mana with this deck, so being able to just turn them into 2/2s is great. Now I'm going to get into the artifacts and enchantments. First up is Way of the Thief, +2/+2 and unblockable. You're going to see a lot of cards like this one. That's actually not one. This one. As long as it's attacking alone, it can't be blocked. Whenever enchanted creature whenever this creature does come into play, it connives. Making our commander unblockable is really important in this deck because we are trying to guarantee we get that combat damage trigger that I keep talking about. Glaive of the Guild Pact. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each gate you control and has vigilance and menace. Tried to put those 2 words together. I made Venice, like deer. But vigilance and menace. Expedition map. 1 colors for an artifact. 2 tap. Search library for any land card, so it can go get Maze's End. Sword Coast Sailor. Blue 1. Commander creatures you own have whenever this creature attacks the player. If no opponent has more life than that player, this creature can't be blocked this turn. And this is great in this deck, and it's better than Cloak of Mist, because Cloak of Mist is on a creature. This stays in play, so even if this is enchanted to 9 fingers and somehow someone destroys it with that Ward 9, this card would still be sitting on the battlefield just fine and be ready for next time, which is great. Either tunnel, +1/+0, can't be blocked. Wister Slip Cloak, unblockable, and can't be the target of spells or abilities. Kaya's Ghost Form, enchant a creature or planeswalker. When enchanted permanent dies or put into exile, return the card to the battlefield under your control. Go ahead and add some protection to Nine-Fingers Keene. Guild Summit, 2 and a blue. When it enters, you may tap any number of untapped gates to draw that many cards. And whenever a gate enters under your control, draw a card. Navigation Orb, 3 for an artifact, 2 tap, sack. Search your library for up to 2 bits of land cards or gate cards, or put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Great card. Case of the Locked Hothouse. 4 mana, you may play additional land each of your turns. To solve, you control 7 or more lands. Super easy to do in this deck. You may look at the top card of the library anytime, and you may play land or cast creatures or enchantments from the top of your library. So tons of choices of what we can cast from the top. Glacier Wood Siege, 1 green, blue enchantment. When it enters, choose Teamer or Sultai. If you chose Teamer, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery card, target player mills 4 cards, or Sultai, you may play a land cards from your graveyard. And then good old Soul Rain. So those are all the artifacts and enchantments that make up this deck. Now I want to get into the gates. I probably should have started with the gates so people could have gotten more excited about the gates, but Maze's End. This is, of course, like the main card in this deck. Maze's End enters tapped. It adds 1 mana of any color, 3 tap, return it to its owner's hand. Search your library for a gate card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. So now Maze's End is back in your hand. It comes back into play, and you can just keep using it. Black Dragon Gate, when it enters tapped. When it enters, choose a color other than black, and it adds black and 1 mana of the chosen color. Sea Gate adds blue or 1 mana of the chosen color. And then Gateway Plaza enters tapped. When it enters, you sacrifice unless you pay 1. It adds 1 mana of any color. Dimir Guild Gate adds blue or black. Baldur's Gate is one of the strongest gates in the deck. Tap, add a colorless, or 2 tap, add X amount of any one color, where X is the number of gates you control. Great card. Simic Guild Gate, taps for green or blue. Basilisk Gate, super good popper card. Tap, add a colorless, 2 tap, target creature gets +X on a turn, where X is the number of gates you control. Golgari Guild Mage adds a black or a green. Thran Portal is a gate from Dominaria United. It enters tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. When it enters, you choose a basic land type. It is the chosen land, and mana abilities cost an additional 1 to activate. So you only get to choose one. Like this would enter as a swamp and then just be like, it only would add black. But overall, it's just another gate for the deck. Gond Gate. When it enter, gates you control enter untapped. That's super good. Tap, add a color's tap, add 1 mana of any color that a gate you control can produce. This is a super good like utility gate card. Heap Gate adds a colorless, filters mana, 1 tap, add 1 mana of any color. 1 tap, tap an untapped gate you control to make a treasure token, so it can build up heaps of mana. Get it? And then Manor Gate is the green one that adds 1 mana of any color. Now I'm going to get into the basic lands and other land cards in this deck and just kind of flip through them until I see something particularly interesting. And if I don't, then I'm just going to talk about my thoughts on the deck. So Evolving Wilds, all those cards that are like, oh, you may play land cards from your graveyard. Evolving Wilds are why those are in the deck. Escape Tunnel, unfortunately, you can't sacrifice it to make Nine-Fingers Keene because it has greater power than 2. You're drawing a ton of cards. Let's not discard them. Down to hand size, Terramorphic Expanse, Myriad Landscape, Terrain Generator can put basic land cards from your hand to the battlefield. Plenty of basic lands just because we have lots of cards that can go search for basic lands, so we might as well play a ton of them. So those are all of the cards that make up this Maze's End Gates Nine-Fingers Keene deck. I appreciate Zenner for letting me borrow the deck to make this video. And if you have any comments for him or play your own Gates deck or are thinking of building one, you let me know down in the comments below and I will give him to him how he could improve this deck. If you would like more people to see this video, please like it, please comment. It helps a ton. I hope you have a good rest of your day and may your top decks be ever in your favor. Thank you.